In this episode of the Choose Hard podcast, I have the one and only KJ, Kyle Johnson, on the show. KJ is a relatively new coach on the Tailored Coaching Method staff, but he has been with us for a while, has created countless transformations with clients that have hired us, but also he was a client of ours for a long time and saw an amazing transformation with us before becoming a coach. And the story behind that is really funny. Long story short, I kind of pissed him off. And because I pissed him off, he ended up creating an insane transformation and getting hired on my staff. And we're going to tell that story. And I think you're going to learn a lot about how something that triggers you or something that creates offense or insecurity can actually be turned into a triumphant story of impactful inspiration and life transformation. And Kyle did just that. He set a perfect example of how you can take a negative and turn it into such a positive. And so we're going to go over his story, and then he's going to bring to the table a bunch of questions around fitness, nutrition, and coaching. So we're going to dive into fat loss mindset. We're going to dive into really just the hustle culture around my journey, what I've had to do. And we work through some different exercise questions. I think you're going to get a lot out of this, especially if you're somebody who is either A, getting coached, or B, seeking coaching, or C, looking to transform. And maybe you don't have a coach or weren't thinking about getting a coach, but after this podcast, you might think about getting a coach, but you'll definitely learn a bit about how to train and diet better for body composition change. So without any further ado, let's get into this powerful Q&A with the one and only Kyle Johnson.
The greatest things in life all start with a challenge.
You must accept that everything is hard before it gets easy.
Everything you want in life begins with a hard path.
Kyle's been on the Tailored Transformations podcast, which will become the Tailored Coaching Method podcast. We're changing the name of that soon. So I'll link that in the description. That's where you can hear client transformations, just coaching guidance. We're going to actually do some like archived episodes of like episode 300 of the Tailored Life podcast, when I had, Eric Helms or Mike Isdale, or it's me doing Q&A on certain topics, because it's such good content, but people would have to scroll back 1,000 episodes to get to it, Yeah. So we'll link that in the description. But Kyle was also a client of ours, had a huge transformation. He's been in the industry as a trainer for how long?
10 or 11 years at least.
Yeah. So how old are you?
I am 34.
Okay. So he's been, this is basically all you've done, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like for like a literal career.
Mm-hmm.
So very similar to me. He's from here, Washington. Where were you born, actually?
I was born in Des Moines. So,
Oh, okay.
Real close right there. I think Highline Hospital.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Where did you live by when you were like a kid?
When we were really young, it was really close to the high school, actually, Mount Rainier High School in Des Moines, and not too far away from the marina. Mm-hmm. Grew up going to Des Moines Elementary, like, if you know, right around that area. Mm-hmm. Small little town, go to the marina, 4th of July, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Super fun.
Yeah. I moved to Des Moines when I was in 9th grade, I think, 9th or 10th grade. Mm-hmm. But so I didn't go to any of those schools, because when we moved, my brother had just got his license, so he would still drive us all the way down to Tacoma, basically. Yeah. Five Tacoma's deep every morning for school. But I skated all those schools.
Oh yeah.
Got kicked out of a couple of those schools for skateboarding and stuff. But give us like a synopsis, just a real quick nutshell, who you are, and then we'll just kind of dive right into the questions, because we're going to, essentially for the listeners, we're going to go through questions. I have no idea what they are. Kyle's going to basically ask me questions. There'll probably be some dialogue and feedback, mainly because I just miss doing Q&As with people. It's so nice, and this is a really good opportunity to introduce one of our coaches that hasn't had a chance to be on the podcast yet, but has been with the team for a bit now and has been with the company for a bit, because you were working with us, which is a cool story in itself. But just give us a nutshell, man. Who's Kyle Johnson?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on. It's very surreal, to be honest, because I remember listening to Tailored Life podcast years and years and years. Yeah. I wasn't quite around when it was Boom Boom Performance podcast, but it was still like a thing. I would listen to it, and all the guests you had on, like you said, like Eric Helms, Stan Efferding, like these huge guys in the industry. I'm sitting there like, who is this guy? Yeah. And you had worked at Vigor at the time, and I'd known you from then, and Theo, and it was insane. So to be here, on the podcast, like talking to you, and then obviously doing the podcast with Ariel, it just feels like 5 years ago, Kyle would have been like, dude, what is going on right now? Kind of like, a little freak out moment. I'm like, all right, cool. So
but like, to me, it's really just like, you're the perfect example of hard work. Like, you're going to get into it, but like putting your mind to something and just doing it. And I'll say this too, man. Actually, I've never said this to you. I've heard this a couple times. Alex just said it to me recently, Alex Codd. He said his exact words were, KJ's one of those guys where he puts his mind to something, dude, that guy just gets it done. He won't stop until he does it. I was like, that's dope to hear. Like, because I didn't really prompt anything. I think he mentioned something about your transformation, and then he just started talking about it. And I was like, that's dope, because he's known you for quite a while.
If anyone's going to know me other than like my own personal family, Alex is going to be the one. Yeah. I mean, I was roommates with that guy for like 10 plus years. We lived in his dad's rental house, been through everything together, best friends to this day. So like, yeah, dude, absolutely. But even just like my own story, like how I got started. So, I mean, I've been a trainer. You'd mentioned that I've been a trainer for 10 plus years, still train people and clients, you know, in person today. I love doing that. It is an amazing feeling to be able to change people's lives just because like you're that person that they look to that's like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, or I need a little extra push. I need my form. I need this. And you get to be the guide. You get to be the person walking right along with them and just like showing them everything they're doing, pumping them up when they need a little extra juice in the morning. They don't feel like it's Friday morning. Shoot, even this morning, I was in the gym. People are sitting there just dragging, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's Friday. I'm like, it's Friday. Yeah. Like, damn right, it's Friday. And they're like, oh, here's Kyle again. He's all happy and pumped up. I'm like, give me one good reason why not to be. Yeah. Like, that's who I've been throughout this whole process. And it kind of kept me going when it comes to personal training. Because for the coaches out there, they know sometimes it's a grind. Like, you're in the gym, long hours. You're there early in the morning, late at night. You're there when people can make it. So that's just how it goes. But I was happy.
And then the days that you don't want to be there, I mean, like, theoretically, we always want to be there. Right. But of course, there's even us coaches aren't superheroes. You know, there's days where we're just not motivated. You have to go into the gym and be, I mean, we got to do this online too, but like, I don't know, because we do so much virtual, like video, Zoom, Loom, like we have to still do this, but there was a point where it was easier to fake it. You can't now. You have to get into the mode, because if you go into the gym and you're not motivated to go, but people are waiting for you there who need you to get them motivated, it's like you have no choice.
There is no choice.
You know? But
you get better at it over time. It's a skill. When I was young, it was just like fake it till you make it. You know, you're learning the skills as you go along. I mean, shoot, I remember when you're in your early 20s, I'm showing up on a Saturday morning. I'm like, well, I'm still a little hungover, to be honest, but we're going to get this thing going, you know? Quickly grew out of that, because you realize I'm gonna burn out so fast if I do that too many times. But yeah, like throughout the years, just learning, getting more certifications, listening to podcasts, reading books, being around other trainers who genuinely are just like better than me and really growing their businesses. That's why I listened to this podcast for so long, because I was like, man, like I can be around in the gym and have other trainers who are there and they're pushing me, and that's great, but I always wanted more. Yeah. And that's where that growth came from in terms of wanting to join this team. I think I told you throughout my own process, like when I hired Tailored Coaching Method, I hopped on the sales call with you, and I told you, I was like, when I, you know, lose this weight and I have my transformation, like, you're going to hire me. Yeah. Right. And at that point, to be honest, like I'm sitting there going like, okay, fingers crossed. You know, but I wanted to put it out there into the universe and be like, no, like I'm going to say it out loud. So at least, even if it's a no, Cody knows it. And I put in the work, I did that effort, and learned more about myself in that year than I probably have in the past 10 years combined, because it was so much more about self-reflection and just learning who I was than anything else. So,
and dude, as the leader of the company, when it's funny too, because I've over the years, just, you know, being transparent as the owner of a coaching company, I'm one of my like worst traits that I've had to like work on is just giving everybody the benefit of the doubt always. It's like, they probably mean well. They're probably a good person. They'll probably be trustworthy. You know, I just always, I don't know what it is, but women have the best instincts. So I rely on like my wife and Ariel quite a bit to like vet everything now and stuff. But which, by the way, like my wife commented multiple times. She was like, I love Kyle. And Katie, she loved you too. That was the first time she met either of you guys. Kyle and Katie Johnson came onto the team at the same time. Both previous clients, completely unrelated.
Completely unrelated.
So, but anyway, it's like, there's no better way to like earn my trust guaranteed. And when I say trust, I mean like I mean, you think about it, this is where, and I love this part. Like, this is the part that fires me up. Like I shared with you guys in that voice memo the other day. Like I went to my daughter's cheer conditioning thing, and there's this random guy walking around the track with a tailored shirt. Shannon was embarrassed because she was pointed it out, because I'm like the type where I just like kind of zone out. I just like, I can just block out my surroundings, which is good and bad. And she's like, that guy's wearing a tailored shirt. And I was like, holy shit, I'm going to hop the fence. She's like, what? No. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to run over there to the football practice and like walk track with him, talk to him. And she's like, don't. And he was on the phone, and I was like pacing, waiting for him to hang up. And she's like, you're so embarrassing. Like, just chill. He probably wants time. And then finally, when I get over there, he was like smiling at me as I was walking by. And he was like, I don't know if you remember me. And then we were talking. His name's Gary. And like, we were bullshitting for a while. Another person walks up. The coach of the football team used to be a client of mine when he was an athlete in high school and college, football player. I trained him and his brother. So he came over, starts talking to us. And then Brandon's client, Maria, is walking the track too, stops us conversation. She's like, I don't know if you remember me. I'm one of Brandon's clients. And she reminded me, I'm terrible with names. So Maria, and I was like, your husband's the cop, Eric. And she's like, yes. And it's like, dope. Driving home, see another person walking her dog. That was Brianna.
Yep.
As we were going by. And I'm like I love it so much. So I love being the one that is like the poster boy, has the megaphone, be the billboard, go like rally the troops. But also, because all of that is on my back, it means it's a reflection of me. And so when I'm just handing clients that are coming on board, people are trusting us to help them with their life. And you know this as a coach and a trainer, man, it's never just fitness, never just nutrition. It's so much deeper, you know? And so we have these people who are trusting us, and then I'm just going, here Kyle, here Katie, here Brent, you know, like I have to have so much trust in the team to do that, because if anything goes bad, it's on me, you know? I mean, it's on the company, but that is on me.
No pressure.
No pressure, right? But, you know, pressure is a privilege, man. Pressure, if you can't take pressure and make purpose with it, like you're going to have a tough time, man. You know? And so, but I say all that to say, you doing what you did by telling me that, and in a cocky way, and like in a good cocky, I think there's like confident, cocky, and then arrogant. Arrogant is like ridiculous, but you said it in a way, and I was like, okay, motherfucker, let's see it, you know? And you did it. And so to me, it was like, when we were getting ready to hire again, it was like, okay, well, we know Kyle. He's coming, like, I don't know if I said it that way because I didn't want to like blow smoke to you, but that was like a hands down. I was like, he already proved it. You know what I mean? Like that. And so anyway, to me, that's the dopest thing. I
couldn't tell you how excited I was when you finally had like reached out and talked to me about that. Cause I was sitting there and I talked to my coach about it a little bit here and there, kind of throw it out, you know, throw feelers out, because, like, you know, I'm getting ready to move. Me and my girlfriend are getting ready to move across the country. And there's that unknown where I'm sitting there like, we've already made up my mind. We're going. I'll make it happen no matter what. Like if I have to find a gym where I'm training, start brand new, I'll do it, right? But there's that line out there for the big fish that I'm like, that's the dream.
Yeah.
That's what I want. If I don't throw this line out, I'm not catching this fish. There's no even chance for me. Like,
did you guys know you were going to move?
Yeah.
Back then too?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Absolutely. We knew we were going to move. We needed to save money. I was still paying for coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, I should not have done that, right? Oh, save your money. Absolutely not. There was no chance, because that was like the first step in the process of like, this is, you know, my ultimate goal. We talk about ultimate goals a lot. Oh, like the first thing on my ultimate goal, every single check-in, was make myself proud.
Yeah. I love that.
Before that, it was constant up and down. I would lose 10, 15, 20 pounds because, oh, I know the macros. I'm a coach. I've been doing this forever. And I could get away with it for a certain period of time, but there wasn't that deep self-reflection of like, I'm not finishing what I started.
Mm-hmm.
And until I put that first, make myself proud. And what was that? It was finishing what I started. It was, you know, if I put a number on things, get it done. And that was what kicked that purpose on. So when we decided to move, it was like, this is how it's going. And, you know, I had to shoot my shot one way or another. And I was very, very happy that I stuck with it, because obviously I'm here today. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because to me, I see three things. I see one, the make myself proud part. I like that. I think not enough people really think about that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, can you lay your head down on your pillow at the end of the night and be like, man, I'm proud of how I showed up today. You know, even if things don't go your way. And look, there's going to be days and nights where, dude, I'm not joking. Last night was the first night in a long time where I laid my head down and I wasn't. My whole day was great. I was proud of myself and everything, but there was just one last thing, and it was I was putting Blakey to bed, and it was realistically, she's 7. This happens. There's some nights she just don't want to go to bed. And then a fit came, and I just didn't love the way the night ended. Mm-hmm. I woke up this morning, and there wasn't as a parent, you'll be like, I wonder if she remembers, is she going to say something, and you want to overcompensate. I wake up, and she's like, Dad, look, this new show's coming out on your birthday. And it was like the most girly, it's like this new Hello Kitty princess kind of looking thing on Netflix. Yeah. And she's just like, come here. And she's just totally fine. I'm like, she like bipolar, completely forgot everything. It's like, she has no idea. And I'm like stewing on it. But anyway, like at the end of the day, if you can do that, and it says you have a high moral integrity and value for yourself, when you have a high level, it's like the whole self-formation thing. We talk about self-respect all the time. And self-respect is when you have such a high level of moral integrity and standards for yourself, like when you don't meet those throughout the day, it just doesn't feel good, So I think that's a piece of it. And I'm just, these are like, to me, like the 3 principles that led to your success, but I think it applies to anybody. Mm-hmm. Number 2 was having a deep rooted purpose. It goes beyond just, I want to look good and get in shape. It's like, okay, I'm moving. I want to be able to provide for my girlfriend, dare I say, future wife, probably.
Put it out there.
I'm going to put it out there. I haven't talked to Kyle about it, being totally transparent, but just in case your girl listens to this, I'm not putting out any hints.
Grace is like, speak it into existence right now.
Exactly. And so you have this deep-rooted purpose. It's like, okay, well, either 1, yes, I want to make myself proud. 2, I want to land this job because that's going to help me provide when we move. And 3, if I don't land that job, I'm going to be better at whatever I do when I'm leaner, when I feel better, when I have more energy, because I'm in the fitness space, like plain and simple, right? And I would imagine even training at your gym now, you probably just got better and better and better, and people gravitated more towards you. And that can sound surface level. It's like, oh, he's a leaner person. People gravitate towards him. No, he's a more motivated person, more ambitious person, a more higher work ethic. He values himself more. Like the list goes on. When you go through the process to get lean, it's not the 6-pack that earns the respect from others. It's what you did to get there, And then the third thing, and I know this just because you were at my seminar, and that's what kind of like kicked this off. Mm-hmm. You were triggered a little bit pissed. And I think that people are surprised by this, but this is a good way to find your core values and your purpose too. Like what kind of pisses you off, And then sometimes it's what you see around you, what pisses you off in the world. And then that changes what you want to see in the world. And that changes how you show up. And other times it's just like, that pisses me off and it's towards me kind of, but I know it's true. Mm-hmm. So you can either bitch at the person who said it, me, or you can change it, Mm-hmm. And it was when I was like, if you're a trainer, you should look like a trainer.
You should look like a trainer. I remember being in the car, driving, I can't remember, it was probably going to the gym and listening to that podcast and just sitting there going, who the heck does this guy think he is? Man, and then I'm getting I'm ticked off right now. And I had to like sit back and like stew on it for a day, and it was still there. And I'm like, why am I so irritated at this? Literally most things fall right off my shoulder. Yeah. No problem. And I had to sit there. I'm like, there's definitely truth to this. That's why it's affecting me so much. And it's like, when you hear that, it's just uncomfortable. Yeah. It just makes you uncomfortable. And it literally, that's what got me to sign up, first for the seminar, which was awesome.
And then I hammered on that at the seminar.
Hammered on it. It was doubled down. I was like, this guy knows I listen to this damn podcast. And it worked, because then I signed up immediately after, then got right going with my coach.
Yeah, which was cool too, because that seminar was, for people listening, it was a seminar for coaches. Mm-hmm. I don't do many seminars for like Gen Pop to lose weight and stuff like that. I have done it plenty of times, but the ones that I host here, usually once a year, is for trainers. And so it's like, I wasn't trying to sell anybody into coaching with us. And that's like, truthfully, I don't even have an upsell at those. No. Most people do seminars and then there's like a mastermind afterwards. I just love connecting with people and using the facility for something other than my normal, but no, I think it's, this is a really good 20-minute intro. And it's just, I think it's, to me, like I wanted to go over that too, just so people, I don't know. It's important to me that people know that everybody on the staff really walks the walk. It's like, that's a really big, important core value of ours. And I think it's so important. It's so important for people to, when you hire a coach, you should be able to say they live a life that I want to live mine more like. They have a physique that's like what I want to achieve. They have accomplished physical goals that I want to accomplish. Like, and it can be weird on our end sometimes because it puts you in like a role model position in a way. And it's to say people want to be like me is a weird thing to say. And it can be taken wrong, you know?
Yeah.
But it's, if I can create success in an area that I know people crave success in, I want to share that. And that's all it is. It's like, and then we have an accountability because we set the standard so high with it. It's like, oh, shit, now we have an accountability to stay here, you know?
There's a certain level to that where you're like, I want to lead, while at the same time, it's more of we're relatable.
Mm-hmm.
You've been in that position. I've been 45 pounds overweight and struggling, not just physically in that sense, but like mentally of like just getting it together. And when you figure it out, you want to share those things.
Yeah.
It's not a gatekeeping thing. I'm like, I want everyone to feel like this because it's so much better and it's not nearly as hard as they think. Like there's hard things. Don't get me wrong. Everybody's had to do them. Like I definitely went through those. But sometimes before you go through that process, it's like this mountain, like Mount Kilimanjaro or something. You're like, I could never do that. Mm-hmm. But until you reach checkpoint 1, you don't quite realize, oh, I'm just going one checkpoint at a time. And it's very helpful when someone who's walked this exact same walk is like, here's checkpoint 2. We've got X amount of miles to go. It's going to take us half an hour to get there. This is what we need. Grab your water, grab this. You're like, okay, this is it. And all of a sudden you're halfway up, 3/4 of the way up. And you're like, okay, that wasn't, I was looking at the whole mountain. I wasn't looking at it from a step-by-step process. Mm-hmm. And it's just overwhelming. You get burnt out. You're just like, oh my gosh, I need to take a step back and forget everything in my life right now for 2 weeks. And I'll get back to it then.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and then it's after that, it's maintaining it. And guess what? We did that too. Mm-hmm. I thought about this yesterday and it was like a good like light bulb moment. I don't know why I thought about this. I was doing dishes. I don't even remember if I was listening to something, but I remember being like, I got to write that down. And then I didn't, but now I remember it. Maintenance is actually so easy if you don't think about the part of having to maintain it afterwards. Because the problem with most people is like, if I look to somebody and I just go, hey, you're maintaining the weight you're at right now, right? Yes. Pretty easily, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, you don't have good habits and it's at a weight that you don't want to maintain, right? Yes. Okay. So if we change the habits and then we connect the dots between the habits, which yes, it is choosing hard at first because it's difficult, but then once you do it for a little bit, this is the part people don't understand. It's hard when you're changing to the habits, but once you have the habits, they're easy. So it's not like I have to choose hard to change these habits and then, man, I'm going to have to choose hard every day to maintain them. No. It's not even, they're not difficult anymore. But I don't track macros and I maintain my weight so easily. I weigh myself every day and it's so easy for me to maintain my weight because I just know what habits I have to do. I know around how often I have to walk and step. I know how many times a week I should probably train. I know I should probably get a cardio session or 2 in. I know I got to sleep in it. Like, it's just simple. It never has to be perfect, but it's like maintaining weight can be easy if you just learn the habits and you just shift your lifestyle around it. The same way that you accumulated bad habits and you became accustomed to those. And that's the crazy part is a lot of people just don't understand how to eat healthy. Mm-hmm. You know, they just, I don't know. And I understand that because once upon a time I didn't either, but it's just not that hard, you know?
But that's what's helpful. You know, we were talking about, the relatable aspect of, a lot of the coaches that you hire have gone through their own transformation because they've been in those shoes.
Yeah.
Right. And you know how hard it actually is and what that feels like. So you can tell your clients, this is how hard it's going to feel.
Yeah.
Right. And then you can also pump them up. You can be their biggest cheerleader and highlight their wins and talk, sometimes those hard moments, you can almost fly by them so fast that almost like you don't even realize, some of the negatives or some of the things that, are really, really tough. If you're just literally pumping them up and pointing out every single win to the point where they're like, man, I am killing it.
Yeah.
And you are.
Yeah.
But that scarcity kind of like, it's very easy.
And dude, if you can gauge like the expectation of your goals just need to match your expectation for your habits and your systems and everything. And it's cool because like talking about being relatable and stuff, when we do team meetups, like you can see like Nick is definitely the most jacked on our team, but you can see his habits are a little bit more, they're not restrictive at all. It's just more dialed in. Like he is just more particular, You know what I mean?
He's a machine.
He's a machine. The dude
The
is
love machine.
the love machine. His last name's Love. It's not some weird shit right now. But like he is more dialed in on a consistent basis because he loves training and he wants to be fueled. Like he is the guy. He's the guy that took the Uber, unless he borrowed the rental car, to get here to the gym and do a leg day at like 5 a.m. before we all showed up to go on a hike.
Yep.
Which ended up being a harder hike than we realized. And I like spontaneously was like, who's wearing the rucksack with me? And he's like, okay. I was like, oh. But it's cool because it's like, okay, like we all maintain a pretty lean physique year round. And we all are very dialed in compared to the average person. We all understand habits and everything. But there's a level, like his expectation for himself is a bit higher. Mm-hmm. He's like, okay, like my habits need to be a little bit tighter. It's simple as that. And so for people, it's like, if you have that like you want your results to be that level, you just got to tighten them up a little bit more. And you can fluctuate too. I fluctuated kind of season to season, depending on what we're doing with the business, what I need to be worried about or anything like that. But it's cool to be able to see that even with the team, Yeah.
And you bring up Nick, and that's literally one of my questions.
There we go.
Okay. And this is a huge like pump up to Coach Nick because he's absolutely amazing. And the first thing is like the question itself is just, who is inspiring to you right now? It doesn't have to be in fitness. It can be in brand. It can be in family. It can be in, anything, right? But who's inspiring to you? And from my perspective, from me, it's Coach Nick.
Yeah, that's dope.
Right? Like literally at the meetup, if you don't know Coach Nick, he is by far the most positive person, and not just positive, like genuinely positive.
Yeah.
It's not fake. You can't fake this.
No.
He is exactly who he is. And being able to be around him and ask him questions, and he's just like providing so much like really valuable feedback for me as a coach.
Yeah.
It took my coaching from one level and jumped to the next level immediately. My check-ins the next week, I felt like I was on fire. I was like, I am Nick right now. He is inspiring me, through this. And it's just who he is. So having people around us that are bringing us to the next level, it's always something I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Like, who is inspiring you right now to get to that next level?
I think it's, and Nick he's inspiring for sure. He's doing my training right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's really smart with training too, And so I was like, you know what? Like, one, it holds me accountable. I can't let this dude that works for me be way more jacked than me. I'm just playing. I can't even with that guy. He's like tall, jacked, but he's a really, really good coach. And he's so optimistic, so positive. Super grateful to have him on the team. But for me, there's a couple people that come to mind. And there's a really good quote. I have it on a post. I haven't posted it yet. And it's weak people envy, strong people study. And so what happens when you are intimidated, insecure, or envious, which are typically people will see somebody achieving greatness and they are either going to be inspired or they're going to be intimidated or envious. So you're either going to be scared and walk away, you're going to be jealous and talk shit, or you're going to be inspired and you're going to ask, how did you do that? And strong people ask how. There's no emotional attachment to your success. You're successful, that's awesome. Even if there's times where I have to check myself on this, we all do, where I might not like how they did it. I might not even like the person. But if they're accomplishing success, there's something to it. Success leaves templates, So I'm always trying to study people and really see, what they're doing. One person for sure that's like close to my life is Cody Smith. Very inspired by that guy, which is cool because he was a client of mine for multiple years and then just became a really, really good friend. They came on a trip up to Suncadia with us and spent my birthday, just a couple's thing. It was like, they're amazing. But from just like a dude that there's those people where you're watching and you're like, how do you do all that stuff at the same time? Yeah. He's got 3 kids, coaches some of the sports. His son's like on a high level of football. So like trainings and camps, all this stuff, runs a gym and a BJJ facility. Like they're attached. He took over another gym in Boise and turned it into a Virtuous. And then he just took over another one up north on the peninsula, like a little bit further than where he's at in Silverdale. Took over that one. That's a Virtuous now. He runs a men's group at his church on Sundays. Like a few weeks ago, I was asking about the church. I was like, I need to make it up there and get to your men's group again because it's been a minute. It's like, oh, you should come this weekend, man. I'm playing drums for the church. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah. I was like, you play drums? He's like, yeah, I was in a band. I was like, what? He competed in MMA at like not in the UFC, but like at a high amateur pro level and won a bunch of fights. He was correct me if I might butcher this, Cody, if you are listening. I don't Air Force or Navy. I think it's Navy. I think that's how they ended up in Silverdome, Bremerton. So he was Navy way back. He competed in like CrossFit stuff, which he's like 6'5", 6'6", doing a snatch, bro. That's so much distance to travel, you know, from the ground. So he's just one of those guys. I'm like, dude, how are you holding all this together? And he does it well. You know, he's just, I don't know. It's very inspiring, especially the family side of things. Like his family is very inspiring to me. His marriage is very inspiring to me. And to be able to do that while running all the rest, really cool. A guy who inspires me a lot on the business side of things is Ollie Marchon, who is from the UK. The reason he really inspired me too is because I had seen like the Marchon logo a few times, but it actually wasn't until Cody Smith told me I should check out more of their stuff because of their branding and how it's kind of similar to what I'm trying to build. And then I'm like, man, that is really similar. Like they have all these, they don't do the online coaching like we do, but it's like all these gyms, then they have an app, and then they have this like apparel side of things. They do supplements. We don't do supplements. They train coaches with this like off thing. I don't remember. It's not called March. I don't know what it's called, but they train trainers, which we mentor people, and we have something in the future that is going to crush that side of the industry. Yeah. That's like a small teaser because I haven't talked much about it, but and it's just all so cohesive, and it's all Marchon, you know? So it's like his branding across everything, and everybody is very on brand. And it's, yeah, to me, it's just like an English version of us with more people because they have gyms. So they have to have way more employees, you know? Yeah. But it's just super inspiring to see somebody doing that on, like, I don't know, because a lot of times it's like, it's hard to take, like for us, we have Tailored, and to take Tailored and do multiple things. But we have Tailored Coaching. We're building this community. By the time this airs, it's probably already there. And we have Tailored Trainer. Choose Hard is the podcast, which is like an off-brand, but it matches the Tailored perfectly. It's our slogan, right? He has a podcast too, Without Limits. It's good. But that's like their kind of slogan. So it's very similar. This happened naturally from us telling clients to choose hard, and then I just trademarked it, you know? We're going to be coaching coaches on a certification level and helping a lot of people, and it's all tailored. And I love that. You know, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than us. And so he inspires me a lot from that perspective for sure. And then I would say Cody from like the family side of things. And yeah, man, I think that's, and this sounds kind of like corny, but my daughter, dude, like, yeah. I don't know, like being around a child often enough will inspire you in different ways. You know, the amount of times adults get frustrated or hold on to something for too long, like you get upset about something, it's normal, you're human, but then just you hold it. I just watched that little girl be so upset, walk around the corner, come back, and she's happy again and playing. And it's like, and I'm like, man, like that alone is, you know, and I don't know, just the kindness of her heart. Like I'll never forget. Did I tell you about the bum story?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh, bro. I felt bad for even like telling them that this happened, because she was so distraught all night. Because she found out what a bum was. They didn't have homes, and the dog didn't have a home. But there's bums, you know, we live in Washington, they're everywhere. And one thing that pulls on my heartstring is when a bum's got a dog. I'm like, oh, the dog. I should feel bad for a human too, of course.
Absolutely.
But I was pulling into Walmart, and I saw them at the corner, so I was like, all right, I'm going to get him some stuff. So I just got like a bunch of dog food, Gatorade, jerky for the guy and everything. And like, I just give him this whole bag. So I like told Shannon and Blakely, and she's like, you gave who? A bum? And I like had to explain to her, and she was so sad that they didn't have a home to sleep in, and the dog didn't have anywhere to go. And it was like, man, the amount of like genuine kindness and love in that heart, you know, that's like hard to find nowadays. And it kind of helps too in today's world where you see so much evil. It can kind of just remind you that there is purity, and it's just like you gotta like hold on to that and harness it. You know,
bottle it. You got to bottle that up.
You do. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, cheesy answer, but like my daughter for sure.
100%. No, actually, it's as soon as I say bottle it up, literally, it's part of the next question. Wait, actually, I'm going to save this one. Okay. So it's mainly just to bring up this question. So when I told you I was listening to the podcast, you know, for years and years and years. My personal favorite podcast that you guys had ever done was with Ariel. Okay. The Psychology of Fat Loss.
Yeah.
Part 1 and 2. I listened to that podcast, I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
Right. It struck a chord with me so deep that I was like, this is my thing. Like I need to listen to this more frequently because Ariel's amazing, obviously, duh, but you guys killed it. But yeah, so basically what I wanted to know is like, where do people and most people, what do they get wrong about more of the mindset, the psychology surrounding not just fitness, but like fat loss and everything, right? Where do they waste most of their time when it comes to like that mental energy, you know, when they're getting going with fat loss?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. And that's a really popular episode. I'll try to remember to link that in the description for you guys. Fat Loss Psychology with Ariel is really good. And I think by the time this airs, I think my episode I did with her when she was here just for the meetup last month or whenever that was, would have aired too. And we did one. It's really good. I think it's called The Dark Side of Success. She's like just asking me questions about entrepreneurship and it's really good.
Cool.
So I think there's a few things that come to mind. One, I think a lot of people, this is like where people get wrong with productivity too. They're like, what are your hacks? What are your tips for productivity? And there is no hacks or tips. It's just discipline. Because if you have the discipline to remove distractions, you increase your productivity. Productivity is literally just eliminating distractions, right? And I think that when it comes to the mindset and psychology with fat loss, and it can be applied elsewhere, obviously, I think it's very similar where people get so tied up in strategy and tactic that they forget to just remove the noise. And I also think that there's a misconception of really just what body positivity is. And that's why I love talking about self-respect so much, because I think the real key is changing your perspective and your frame of mind by increasing your own self-respect. Because the higher self-respect you have, the more love and appreciation you have, and the higher you believe your standards should be for yourself, the better you treat your body. And the more you realize that I don't need to be disciplined for these things. I need to love myself to do these things. It's like that I think I told you about the Charles Poliquin quote where he's like, maybe I told you about it. There's no such thing as discipline, just love. You either love the version of yourself that you are and have been, or you love the version of yourself that you're trying to become more. If you love the version of yourself you're trying to become more, then you just do what's required to become that person, right? And so now it takes discipline to do those things. So I don't agree with him saying that discipline's not a thing. But it's true in the sense that I think a lot of the mindset isn't grit or like that David Goggins reel I sent you. I was cracking up. Whoever put that together did really well.
They did a great job.
At first, I was like, is that a 3 podcast? Shane Gillis and David Goggins on the same? No, it's not. But in that sense, it's like, I don't have to grind my teeth and grit through it. I have to change my perspective of I'm doing this to show myself love. I had a conversation with a client about this yesterday where she has a rebellious tendency. And so it's almost like the things that we're trying to do in order to change her body to get to where she wants to be, it's almost like rebelling against it. And it's because most likely there's something in her history, but like, and I can relate to this, but like if somebody tells you this is the thing to do, you know, even though this is where it's tough because even, you know, popular with like motivational interviewing and stuff, I gave options. This wasn't like, you need to do this. Like we came to this agreement, but as soon as it's a task where it's on the list, she rebels against it subconsciously. And part of that is because it's this higher level of commitment to herself, I think. And I think you have to learn how to love yourself enough to commit to the hard things. You know, this isn't I'm not rebelling against this task somebody's telling me to do. You're rebelling against a task you want to do for a body you want to achieve in a life you want to live. And when you change it, the narrative, it starts to make a little bit more sense. So I think a lot of the mindset, man, to me at least, what I've seen in our coaching is getting people to raise their own standards is 90% of the battle. It's once we can get them to admit and understand and talk through the fact that they want more for themselves and they know they deserve more for themselves, all the work that's required to get there becomes a lot easier to do. You don't need to grit and grind through it as much. And even when you do, because you're not super motivated, it's way easier to do it. And there was actually a study that I talked about. I think it's in the Self-Belief podcast, which as we're recording airs on Monday. It's out by now if you're listening to this. And I talk about this study that basically showed two things. One, if you have a specific plan, you can automate discipline, which means that it requires less discipline and actual energy to get through something without motivation if I have a plan, because I feel like I can just rely on the plan. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side of it, they showed that when people actually wrote out their moral core values, which is so crazy, but they wrote out their moral core values, they showed a higher level of self-belief in any task that they had to jump into. Well, and all that really is deciding at one point, like, because the researchers basically made them sit down and go, what do you stand for? What do you believe in? And that anchored them to something. Now they have integrity because it's like, I'm this kind of person. Okay, now you got to do this thing. And it's like, okay, well, I have a higher level of confidence because I know at the end of the day, and they saw this too, the reward is less attached to the outcome. It's more attached to your values. So if I have a hard work ethic or a discipline or a follow through, or when I set my mind to something, I'm going to get done. Like, I'm going to go until I have that feeling and I know I can put my head on my pillow and say I did well. Not I lost blank exact pounds,
I love that.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. This guy's me thinking of my own core values. I'm like, the first thing that pops into my mind, generosity. I think about it with my grandpa. He was the most generous guy I ever met in my entire life. I want to be just like him. Like, generosity. I'm like, man, what am I doing right now to be more generous?
Well, that's the thing. And the more and what they showed in this, and this is why I always tell people, like, write your values down a ton, look at them, because when you do, and they're at the forefront of your mind, now it's part of that decision-making and emotional regulation part of your brain. And so when you go through day-to-day tasks and actions, you enter opportunities or situations and you will question yourself. Am I acting in a generous way? Because that's a value of mine, and you can't get away from it. And if you don't and you walk away, it pops in your head and you're like, fuck, I got to go back.
Yep.
I got to make that right, And so, but like, it's so crazy because it's so simple, but it's just that simple. Like, sit down, write your values, figure out what you stand for. And if you do that, you are going to make decisions better.
100%.
Plain and simple. One of the things that I tried to do not too long ago, because I would like live in the gray area because I didn't want to like hurt anybody's feelings. Yeah. So if I knew I probably couldn't, I wouldn't say no. But then I realized it was hurting people because it would like lead them on. Mm-hmm. And so I started just saying, like, you know what? I'm a person who makes decisions. Like, I'm a decision maker. And so it's like, I'm not going to live in the gray. So it's a yes. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
Yeah.
And it's like, and even in the situations where it is a hell no, and I don't want to be mean, it's like, hey, right now, no, reach back out. Or like, let's do something later. Let's plan something. Or it's like, even like planning stuff with people that I love in my life. It's like, I can't, but in 2 months I can. And that sounds absolutely insane. But it's like, I would rather somebody be like, that's annoying, but I respect him because he's honest, than like, he's a flake, or he does it like, who knows with him, And like, nobody's ever said that to me, but I fear that. Yeah. And maybe a part of it was like I felt that towards somebody at one point. I was like, oh shit, I don't want that.
We've all felt that.
Yeah. I don't want people to think that about me though.
There's zero chance I want people to think that. Yeah. For me. All right, let's move on. Let's do another one here. So, let's go back to the bottle question. So if you could bottle one lesson, from your coaching career and hand it every single day or every day or to every new client on day one, what would it be? And I'll say that again because I obviously butchered it. If you could bottle one lesson from your coaching career and hand it to every new client on day one, what would it be?
Oh man.
Just one.
So I think the one that comes to mind, I think there's a few ways to interpret it, but it's the same thing. Okay. So it's not multiple. I'm not cheating.
Is this the whole "it depends"?
I kind of, but it also, I think like, when you're like coaching somebody in person, like training, and like you'll throw a cue and it just doesn't land. Oh yeah. And they're not sitting into the squat like you want them to, and you're like, that cue is great, but you just keep throwing out cues and then one of them just hits.
100%.
I'm thinking about it like that.
Okay.
So one of them is, and actually I was listening to, it was actually a sermon. I was listening to it this morning on my ruck, and he said, he was trying to make a point about you won't ever achieve success without struggle. And then he goes, you can't get you can't get swole without getting sore. And everybody in the crowd started like laughing. And I was like, damn, that's a good way of looking at it. He's like, but like, you can't have the success without struggle. So I think like part of it is just that, like, there's going to be struggle in success. And I think that's a big piece of it. And the other way to interpret this is like literally why choose hard is a thing, is because I think if you like the real lesson or thing to try to grab onto is accepting difficulty. Because I think there's a difference between this. The reason we don't say do hard things is because there's a difference between doing hard things and choosing to do hard things. Choosing is accepting and taking ownership of the hard thing and really like stepping into it, leaning into it. And so I think if you accept the difficulty, you accept the struggle, in the case of getting swole, you accept the soreness, like that lends itself to be more helpful. And the frame I try to like really tell people of this is always easier said than done. Everything is. But at some point in time, number one, you're going to look back and say, I wouldn't change it for the world. Mm-hmm. You know, I've said it a million times to clients and on this podcast because we always do that. So if you can just remember like, God, this sucks. I'm struggling right now. But eventually I'm going to look back and be like, I wouldn't change it for the world because it taught me so much. Just remind yourself, because it might be easier to accept difficulty and accept the struggle that is a required part of getting those results. You know, and I think if I could just teach people that alone, I think that would be the most beneficial thing, because every micro detail, because everybody struggles with a different aspect of fitness and nutrition, but no matter what, it's the struggle. No matter what, it's the difficulty. No matter what, it's accepting that challenge, that difficulty, that hard thing. And I think if you can kind of think of what you will think in the future on the forefront by looking back or looking ahead to when you would look back, it's like some Inception shit. And just say, like, I know eventually I'll look back and say, I wouldn't change it for the world. This made me who I am. The struggle provided the lessons I needed, and I accepted the challenge. I think you're going to be able to have such an easier time getting through it. It's going to be a lot simpler. And also you'll realize, and this is like what my main goal is with a lot of the coaching, you'll easily be able to see where it applies to other areas in life. Because if it was just about getting people ripped, I mean, dude, like in 2 weeks, I fly out to LA to see my client compete. He's competing at the Muscle Mayhem. And hopefully by the time people listen to this, he already got his pro card. Because he's the one that came, he was here a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The dude is jacked. And this is his first season competing. The only reason he's doing the show is because he was supposed to go to North Dakota like a couple months ago, and he got canceled. His flight got canceled because nobody flies to Fargo, North Dakota, apparently. So his prep got extended. It was rough. But like, anyway, I'm flying out there for that. And look, I love getting people shredded. It's a blast. But like, he's also got a baby on the way. He's married. He is an attorney. He's a small business lawyer. Like, he's grinding, and he loves developing. He's done multiple Ironmans, marathons. Like, the dude's got an ice bath on. Like, he just wants to push himself and challenge because he sees growth in other areas of his life. That's why I love coaching him, and why when he was like, maybe we should do a show, I was like, let's do it. My client that competed before him, one of them, because there's been a few, but he had Parkinson's. He's been on the podcast. That was more than just getting a six pack, you know? And like, and I still coach him, and he's going to do another show next year, which is
go.
Dude, we put on some size too. But like, it's always more.
Yeah.
You know, it's always more. When I was talking to those people at the football field, it's more than just weight loss. And I think when you can accept difficulty, I think when you can accept that there's struggle required, I think you really get that, and you start to connect the dots. And I know we do really well with this in our coaching for anybody listening, but like we kind of force people to learn the lesson because we want to point it out. Like, where is this applying over and over and over again? Because once they start making those connections, the weight loss thing becomes easy. Because they're like, oh shit, I'm a better dad, or I'm a better mom, or I'm working better at my job, or I'm making more money, or I appreciate more things in life. Like, how can I be negative when Nick's in my DM all the time? Dude,
I was going to say, dude, every single time it pops up, check-ins every single week. There's challenges. You get down on yourself. Like, it's
normal.
It's normal. It happens a lot. But being able to kind of point out similarities in so many other things. I think back, I played baseball growing up, went to college, played baseball. The first thing they'll tell you, especially in Little League, is that you're going to fail. At least the Hall of Famers are failing 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? And as a kid, you're just like, whatever. Right? But you start to get it as you're growing up, and you're like, okay, no, this is a game of failure.
Yeah.
And it is a game of relentless practice. The only way to really lose that game is to stop showing up. And it applies directly to a lot of areas of life, but especially with nutrition and fitness.
Yeah.
You know, it is the more repetitions you put in, the more reflection you do, the more you learn and grow, the easier that skill is grown. And all of a sudden you're there. You don't even realize you're there, but you're there. Yeah. We can all be frustrated. We can all show patience. We can all be in those periods of times where it feels like life is crazy, or man, I'm just like running, downhill. This is amazing. But it's that like over a span of time and go throughout that whole entire process. Can I keep on producing reps?
Yeah.
Rep after rep after rep. It's not even the outcome that matters at that point. It is, can I show up and play the game? If I can do that, the rest takes care of itself.
So true.
Yeah.
It is so true. And it's that reflection piece that allows you to see where else in your life you're growing and getting better. It just, that part is just, to me, that is so important. So like, I guess to answer the question exactly, it would be to point that out. It'd be to get them to understand that right away. Because sometimes it takes time. It takes, like, there's a perfect example is like the first time a client goes on like a trip or something while trying to diet and they screw it up. Yeah. Not everybody screws it up, but most people do.
It's
like,
hard. Yeah.
Even if you didn't really screw it up, you think you did because you're like upset yourself. Yeah. And then that conversation afterwards is always like, awesome, you got it out of the way. And they're like, what? And it's like, how are you supposed to learn how to do it right if you don't screw it up once? Like if you don't go on vacation and kind of fall off your diet and realize that tracking's kind of impossible. So I kind of have to figure out this like mindset thing unless I'm traveling for work, and then maybe tracking's possible. And like, I can't weigh in every day because I'm in a hotel, like whatever. At first you're like anxious because like, I'm so dialed in, I'm doing all these things. Now I can't, it's taken away from me. Okay. You can't control it. So it's easier said than done, but don't worry about what you can't control. What could you have done better? Cool. Let's do that next time. Yeah. Move on.
Simple.
But you gotta fail.
You gotta fail.
It's part of it.
All right, let's do this one. Let's change it up to a little bit of training, okay? Obviously, we both trained for a very long time, been in the gym for a long time. Okay. Do you believe everyone has a gear that they haven't tapped into yet in the gym? And if so, how are you helping them find it, right? Because personally, this is like an every single day thing with clients. And sometimes it's the same person where they reach a new level that they didn't realize that was a thing. They're laying on the ground, huffing and puffing. I'm like, we just did some lunges. Just kill me now, please. Yeah. Right? Like, how do you help people, especially in the online realm, be able to find that place and get to that next level, get to that next gear, when maybe this isn't like their first, they haven't been lifting weights for 15 years. Yeah. They're new. Like, how do you do that?
I think that there's a few strategies. I think it's more a tactical thing, because I think obviously you have to create proof that the person can train harder, because everybody does have that next level. Yeah. They have that next gear. Your mind quits before your body every single time. But it's like the failure thing. Until you see that your mind quits before your body, you're never going to be able to push your body further beyond your mind, So it's funny because I was just talking to Travis about this yesterday. Travis Bolton, who came in to shoot content. And I did a set, and I was like, man, it's always crazy how much harder the sets are when the camera's on. And he like laughed, and he was like, why? I'm like, because my form is perfect. I go a little bit heavier, like I push myself and I get all the reps done. So you're like, oh shit, I can do more next time. So for me, it's easy to go to that next level because I can remember, like today I'm going to go in the gym. I'm going to remember yesterday I had a little bit more in me and I pushed through it. So I know I can now too, So I think there's a few ways like strategically to do this, because everybody is the same. We all can go push further. The first way is to film yourself. Whether you're doing content or not, if you have a coach, it's good to film yourself for your coach at least a little bit. One, get your form right. But two, if your form's on point, I think you should still film some of the exercises maybe you don't love as much so that they can call you out. Because it's helpful for a coach to be like, you had a couple more than think. And a lot of times once you film it, because you see it. So even if you don't send it to a coach, if you don't have a coach, film yourself and just look at it and be like, tell me you don't, because I remember doing a PR squat attempt, and I did the squat, and I literally, walking towards the camera, said, that was a 0 RIR. I'm done. Like, I have nothing in me. And I watched it, and it was like smooth as butter. I was like, damn, I had a couple more. But like that much weight on my back freaked out my mind, And look, I'm not telling anybody go do PRs with that, but do a freaking, I don't know, like a goblet squat or cyclo squat, a leg press with like safety pins, anything, push-ups. Yeah. Dude. Something that is safe to go to failure, but like film yourself first. That's step one, because I think when you film yourself, you'll be able to expose, yourself not taking it all the way to yourself. I think doing there's an RIR strategy I will use. So for people listening, RIR stands for reps in reserve. It's like a scale of effort. And so what I'll do with people is I'll look at their training log and I'll see, okay, they did that exercise with 25 pounds for 10 reps. Next week, it says as many reps as possible with 25 pounds. And then they do 20 reps. And it's just a way for me to prove to them, like, see, I know you can do more. And there's certain exercises you could tell, right? Like somebody's doing, like I can look at one day and see a dumbbell press with 25s, and then I see they're doing a row with 25s for around the same weight. I'm like, you can row more than you can press. 99% of people can. Yep. So I'll like do that intentionally. And sometimes doing it with the row will help their squat, because it's just the like literally the thought process. It's just understanding this rule of thumb of like, oh, I can go heavier than I realized, you know? And for some people, it's like I have a ton of clients who will say, my grip's limiting. Like, and I know I shouldn't wear straps because I should be building my grip strength. And I'm like, no, wear straps. Mm-hmm. Wear gloves. Glue your hand to it. I don't care. Like, we're not here to build massive forearms, and they will get stronger. Yep. Even with straps. Like, but you're not going to hold your back or your legs, your glutes, because of your grip. You know, it's stupid. So use whatever you got to do. But I think that strategy of going to failure with a similar weight teaches you that. So filming yourself, doing that helps a lot as well. And then honestly, like even just training around people, like if you have a spotter nearby or anything like that, that helps. I mean, you probably see it like on Mondays, you know, when you're here lifting with me and stuff. When there's people around, you just lift harder, lift heavier. You know, you can even look in the research too. There's music plays a role. So play music that is going to push you and challenge you. There's even research that shows you will match your playlist to your emotions, which sometimes is not good. You should do the opposite. Yeah. So like if you're sad, you'll probably play sad music, which makes sense, but it makes you more sad. And it's just like this never ending cycle. Yeah. So when you're sad, play the shit you don't feel like listening to right now because it'll help you. So maybe in the gym, if you're not in the mood, you got to like put on some metal, even though you don't want to listen to it, do it. Like it has an impact. It's really weird. But, so I think like just your training environment, I think filming yourself is a huge one. Yeah. And then you going to failure on safe exercises, honestly, quite often, like there's a lot of times where I'm just like, okay, if it's 10 plus reps and it's safe exercise, just go to failure. Mm-hmm. Like, and then especially if you don't know what weight to lift. So when people are like, how much weight should I use for this? I don't know yet. I haven't seen you do it. So grab a weight that you know you can confidently do, go to absolute failure. It's a lateral raise. You'll be fine. It'll be fun. And then you'll be able to gauge what you should actually be doing. So I think in general, to me, like the best way is to probably just go to failure and find safe ways to do it and film yourself doing hard sets so you can really know. Because there's times too where like if you're doing a bench press, you shouldn't just go to absolute failure. Right. But if you film yourself doing a 5-rep bench press and you see that you had a couple more in the tank, that's going to give you the confidence you need. Because proof is what creates belief. Right. And so you either have proof of something good that shows you did it, or you have proof that you could have done more. Either way, you're going to gain the self-belief to add some weight. Right.
100%. So, and the amount of times that even in the gym, right, I've pulled out my phone. I'm like, this one's for Instagram. Mm-hmm. People's form, I've never seen it more perfect. I can't use it too much because then there's, it doesn't really mean anything, right? And whether it goes on Instagram or not is completely up to them. But like they know, oh my gosh, the phone's out, here it comes. And it's like, I've never seen a more perfect squat in my entire life. Where has that been this whole time? But it's that pressure that comes in. It's like, they're doing chin-ups now. You haven't even done a chin-up before. You just got your first one because I pulled my phone out. Like, dang, this is insane. Like the mind is crazy.
One thing to think about too, this is completely theoretical, so nobody quote me on this, but I think, you could tell me, I think this would be kind of true. Mm-hmm. If you are consistently training at like 80% of your effort, you're going to get results. Yeah. But if you train with 100% of your effort, you're going to get the same results in 80% of the time, which means that you'll save 20% of time, right? So if it takes you 6 months to get to a goal, you'll probably get there in 5 months if you were training at 100% effort every time. And I don't mean effort as in maxing out all the time. I mean, you're actually being very intentional. Yeah. Like when I'm doing a chin up, I'm really focusing on all my fingers gripping the bar. Am I pulling my shoulders down and depressing them? Am I doing a full range of motion? Am I letting my lats stretch at the bottom? Am I avoiding the swing? Like these little things, they do take a lot of mental effort, but like if you put 100% effort in your training, you will get to the result faster. And so to me, I'm like, the easiest way for me to explain to people too is like, hey, do you want to get to the result sooner or later? It's always sooner. We all want to get to the result faster, obviously. well, I want to get you there faster. So if you just do this now, you'll get there sooner.
Yeah. It's learning how to be present in the gym. Because every single time, I mean, I'm there a lot. In between sets, people are on their phone, scrolling, not really paying attention. They're not really being present and training hard.
Yeah.
You can look around the gym. You can know immediately who is training hard and who's just kind of going through the motions.
Yep.
Even just by their resting.
Ooh.
They're sitting there just, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
They're
that's a
trying
good
to
one.
get their life together because, oh my God, I'm literally just like, let me drop to a knee, catch my breath. You're like, that lady right there, badass.
Yeah. Well, in that rest period is actually a really good way to tell too. If I just ask how long, like if I'm thinking somebody's not training hard enough, hey, I want you to time your rest sets. Like, or either A, I'm not going to plug them in, time them so I can see how long you're resting, or B, follow the exact time that I put in there. And then either one of two things, they're going to come back and I'm going to see they're timing themselves in a super quick, or they're going to say, I didn't want to wait that long before my next set. I'm like, that's because you're not training hard enough.
Yep.
That's an easy way to tell. If you're doing like a leg press, a deadlift, anything like that, and you're not taking 3 minutes between sets, maybe 4 or 5, depending on how much you're lifting, you're not training hard enough.
No.
Plain and simple. If you can talk while doing a set, you're not training hard enough. If your last rep is as fast as your first rep, the speed and the cadence like of you pressing the weight, you're not training hard enough, because your last rep should be significantly slower than your first rep. In fact, that's a scientific way to test your RIR, is to have a decrease in your velocity. So the speed at which you are able to perform the concentric lift, the positive, that should drop quite a bit, probably by about 50% on your last rep, realistically, because that's really hard. And you might even have one more grinder in you, but that's where it's like, okay, your RIR 1, stop. It's safe here, but it's effective. So I think like there's all these little things that we can say, like, if you're doing that, you're not training hard enough, you know? And the rest period is a big one. And I see that a lot for women. They shorten rest periods up, which women can take shorter rest periods, partially because they lift lighter on average, and partially because, and this is interesting, they have a higher estrogen dominance, which improves their cardiovascular health. So typically they recover between sets faster too, which is actually pretty interesting. So they can handle more volume. There was like one good volume study on women, because most studies are on men for muscle. And it was really cool and interesting because of that. Like they can handle a lot of volume because they're able to recover so quickly between sets.
I feel like chances are they'd be able to handle a lot of pain too.
Absolutely. Yep.
You know,
it's just how we were designed, you know? But I think in general too, like it's, if you don't, this goes back to the journaling thing. I think reflection's so good for everybody in every situation. Cause it's like, if I ask you, you know, do you think you're training hard enough? You don't know. And then I'm like, how long do you take between sets? I don't know. Like, what are you thinking between sets? Do you text between sets? Are you calling anybody? Do you have like how long does it take you to the gym? If the answers aren't specific, you don't recall, which means you're not tracking and you're not reflecting. So like right when you get done in the gym next time, just reflect on the session. How hard do you feel like you went? Do you feel like you're sweating? You're lit up. You're on fire. You're like, your core temperature's up, you know, all these little indicators of you training hard enough. Because if I ask you a week later, you're gonna be like, I don't remember, you know? Yeah. But if you ask yourself right afterwards, there's all these little things that literally tell you, yes, I am training hard enough to get great results rather quickly. You got to reflect right after the session. Otherwise, you're not going to know.
Okay. Right on that reflection part. Okay. This is something more from like my own coaching that I'm just curious about, right? You talk about journaling, and specifically for me, it's like men journaling. I got into journaling, 1, through coaching, but 2, you hear about it frequently enough. Yep. And I needed prompts, I needed things, but I was terrible at it in the beginning. You're sitting there saying, oh, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for the house over my head. I'm grateful for I'm grateful for the food. You feel like a dunce, just like stumbling around. But then day after day after day, I get a little better. How are you with bringing that up to especially men, right, that might not be as receptive to journaling in the beginning because they're like, journaling? Yeah, no, for chicks, that ain't for me. Yep. You know, like, where do you start that conversation with them? Because personally, I feel like there is so much growth to be had from journaling in so many different aspects, not just, you know, physically, I can lower it, but like emotionally, in their relationship, in every area of life. Like, where do you start with them?
Yeah. I can think of a literal exact conversation with a client that was a guy that was like, I don't do that. I wasn't raised that way. Men don't journal. It's like a diary.
Feelings? No.
It's for girls. And my response was actually, I was like, so am I a girl? And then he was like, well, no, what do you mean? I'm like, I journal every day. It was just kind of like, oh shit, I don't want to be mean to him, So he stopped. But anyway, I think that there's a lot of different ways to journal. And I think that's why I like the journals we have, because it does lower the barrier of entry. Because people first go, I don't know what to journal. Yeah. Cool, you don't have to worry about it. Just do what the book says. The prompts are for you. So that's like the first and easiest and obviously most effective way to dive into it. Like lower the barrier, which is just give them prompts, Yeah. 2 is showing research. And so there's a lot of research on journaling. And so showing guys research sometimes, like, and people get weird about this kind of stuff today, but at the end of the day, like, men are different than women, right? And there are certain things that men do and think, and the way they operate is just different. And one of them is they're logical creatures. Women are more emotional creatures for good reasons. Yeah. Women are way better nurturers. They're also way better at, they have a fast track of emotional intelligence and actually reading somebody's intentions, integrity, which is why I'm like, oh, everybody wants to be good and I can trust anybody. Like a big dummy. And then it's just like, come on. That's why I rely on women to help me with that. But anyway, because men are logical creatures, going to the science is helpful sometimes, because it's like it's easier for them to change their opinion and their worldview on something if they're like, journaling's for women, I don't do that shit. They're more likely to shift their opinion because they're logical if you just show them the facts. Okay. Because it's very unemotional on my end too. It's like, hey, I thought the same thing, but like, this is what the research says, and I'm not the researcher. And it's like, okay, well, this is not me arguing you. This is just me going, no, the sky is blue. And this is what they like, look at this picture. And they're like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It's that simple. So showing them research is helpful. And there's so much research to show it lowers depression, lowers anxiety, lowers overwhelm and stress. It helps productivity. So people, there's association. So it's correlative research, but still correlations with people who journal and success, because obviously when they journal, they're usually reflecting, learning, and then growing faster, and they're planning their day usually. Yep. That's part of what you do in a journal. So it's going to make them more organized. There's the studies on discipline being automated if you have a plan. So if you write out your plan for the day, you're more likely to do it without requiring so much discipline, which saves your mental energy. And then there's higher levels of self-belief and confidence when you journal, because most likely you're journaling affirmations and core value-based stuff like I talked about. But I just point out the research, and it's like, man, we can't get away from it. It's right here. And so really, to me, it's like challenging why they think that, because nobody has a really good reason. It's an opinion based on probably most, like even the guy I was talking about, like it was something that he took from his older brothers and dad way back in the day. Yeah. So they thought and said something. And then it's like, okay, no disrespect, but do you want to be like them? Do you aspire to be like them? Do they live a life and have a body and have a family, have a career or anything like that you aspire to accomplish? And if the answer isn't yes, absolutely, then don't follow their lead. Success leaves templates, and most likely the people that have success across all those areas, whether they journal or not, they wouldn't hate on it. That's just not the type of person that has success, right? Yeah. So I think you should be looking for, and this is what actually got me to start journaling and meditating, is I started looking at different successful people that I was inspired by that were role models I didn't know. Tony Robbins, Rob Dyrdek at the time, people like that. And I saw that they were all meditating, and I thought it was like some hippie woo weird thing. Yeah. And I just didn't want to meditate. And it's hard for me to slow down as is. But I think I remember Rob Dyrdek when I started kind of studying what he did. That was the person that really got me over the edge with a lot of the personal development stuff, because I saw what he was doing. And there's so many successful rich people doing it. I'm like, well, these people are wealthy, successful, they're impacting people, and they actually look happy. They're not like rich and miserable. So maybe I should take a hint, And so showing proof, showing science, and like challenging their narrative, I think is really just the easiest way to accomplish it. And then if they need help, show them, like, what am I grateful for? Like, it's easy. Pick out of 3 things. Pick one small thing that is like, you're just stopping to smell the roses. Like, thank God I got a roof over my head. Pick an abnormal thing, a big thing, a person, your wife, your spouse, your kid, somebody else. And then I always tell people, and this is a weird one for most people, pick yourself. Like, if I sat there and was like, I'm grateful that I have had the tenacity to just keep on going over the years and accomplish what I've accomplished and never said no, never backed down, never quit. Like, I'm literally fueling myself. because what you appreciate elevates. So appreciating everybody else is great, but if you don't stop to appreciate yourself, how do you elevate yourself? Right? So I love doing like a little small thing, big thing, and then something about yourself. Typically, like what I literally do in my journal is I thank God for all the small things, and then I thank somebody close to me, and then I'm thankful for something about me. And that has always been, and I took that from Dr. Caroline Leaf, who is I think she's a neuroscientist and a psychologist. She's a unbelievable human being. I had her 100 episodes ago, probably, like so great, but more than that, it was during COVID when I had her on, which was an interesting time to talk to her. But doing that is super helpful. I think the affirmations is super helpful too. Yeah. I am blank. I will blank. You know, what will make today great? You're speaking, like the whole speak into existence thing isn't as simple as you say it and you'll be it. But, and this is her too, because I asked her this, when you speak something into existence, you're changing your subconscious behavior and actions. So you will align your attitude, your actions, and your behaviors subconsciously with what you consciously spoke into the universe. So if I'm sitting here saying, I am a blank, I remember writing, I am a great father every day for like 9 months, however long pregnancy is. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like long time, you know, I was just over and over and over again because I was kind of nervous about that, but I wanted to be like that. This is how I need to get in the mind. Like I will be. And then I am blank and I will what? I will work hard to blank, you know, you're speaking things into your attitude, your actions and behaviors throughout the day. And you stack those days over the course of time. I mean, it's like you said, at first journaling is kind of hard, but once you just keep doing it.
Immediately, it makes me think, like you're talking about, I am a great father. You weren't even a father at that point in time.
Exactly.
How many of us are like those affirmations, speaking something that we want to happen, right, into existence, and it feels cringy at first because it's disingenuous. Yeah. I have not done that yet. There is no proof there, but I have to say it anyways. My coach is telling me I should do this. I know I should. I want to be that. And you kind of have to put in the reps. This is another point of failure where it's like, it might feel like failure right now because you haven't done it.
Yeah.
But you're actively working towards it, right? I want to be disciplined. That's a huge one for a lot of people. Until we put ourselves in positions to challenge discipline, how do you even know that?
Yeah.
You're going to fail sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? Hall of Fame numbers, failing 7 times out of 10. They're sitting there with a plaque in Cooperstown.
Yeah.
Right? Like you got to go through those reps and you got to be willing to have those uncomfortable conversations and write them down for yourself, not just for your coach, not just for your other people around you. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's you. You're the one that's internalizing everything and you got to have those hard conversations. You can't just like sweep it under the rug and say, oh yeah, I should have done this. I'll do better next time. That's what journaling's for.
Yeah. Well, and that's like when you put I will, you're creating a declaration. It's an I am statement.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is like everybody has imposter syndrome because of this exact thing. But the reality is, if you don't have any imposter syndrome, it means you're not pushing your boundaries. Mm-hmm. The only reason you have imposter syndrome is because you're stepping into a new territory, you know, and you got to become more. Yeah. The only reason you got to become more is if you're pushing and you're trying to challenge yourself and grow. You know what I mean? But there was another good research study on, they did it in kids, but it was external affirmation. So the teachers saying to the kid, the researchers and stuff like that, basically when they took all the kids that got good grades and they took half of them and said, you're so smart, well done. And then they told them, you work so hard, well done. Split into two. The group that was told they're so smart started declining in grades. The group that kept getting affirmed that they worked so hard kept increasing their grades and continued to have good grades because it associated with work ethic, which is a moral integrity. It's a value that you have and standard you have for yourself. Being so smart can be pawned off as like a genetic, a gift. It is what it is. I'm just, you know what I mean? Like I just have it. I am it. I don't know. But when I say you worked so hard, you know exactly why you got good grades. Yeah, you're probably smart too, but you're only smart because you worked hard, you know? And so what you repeat and what your environment repeats to you, which is a hard one for people because sometimes you gotta cut things or people out of your life or call them out if they're being negative. Mm-hmm. It does a lot for your mindset and your belief.
I remember that podcast, listening to that podcast and having that like snap fingers, like, oh my gosh, how does this make so much sense? And I've never thought about it that way. It took a long time for me to realize that, even just in the gym, you know, coaching clients. Oh, you know, you're giving them advice or you're giving them, you know, their kudos and you're just like, yeah, you worked really hard on that set. You pushed yourself to the limit on that set. right? You showed up when you didn't want to. Like, you're giving them those reminders of like, this is what matters. It's not, oh man, I hit a PR, I did this. It's like, no, on the really truly hard stuff, you showed up and you put in effort.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that matters is that effort, because that effort can be completely different tomorrow. If you get into a car crash, you can't do squats anymore. Well, what happens when you're not that person?
Yeah.
You still have effort. I can do something, right? It's going back to that.
Yeah. And parents, you got to teach this young, you know, I like the whole, like, I don't even know if they do anymore. It's like the trophies for everybody kind of thing, you know.
Participation trophies?
Yeah. I don't think they do it anymore, thankfully, because it's not.
I'm not sure.
And this is not like this is not just an opinion. This is just a fact. Like, doing that sets kids up for the opposite of what we're talking about right now, because it shows that you will get a trophy even if you don't work hard. But then they go get a job and then they get fired because you don't keep a job if you don't work hard. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you don't keep a wife or a husband if you don't show up and treat them well. Like, it's just plain and simple. Like, so you can't do that to kids. But like, the reason this kind of pops up in my head is I remember my daughter doesn't play soccer anymore. She only did it for 1 year. She didn't like it very much, but she was really young. And so they picked somebody and everybody got a trophy. Like, one kid got a trophy on the team every game, and or like a little medal or something. And it was not because of goals or anything like that, because half the time they scored the wrong goal and shit. Like, it's not, you know, they were like 5.
Yeah.
But like, it was a trophy or a award for like teamwork or kindness or whatever it is. They saw something on the field, you know, patience, and they would decide this is what it is, which is cool. And that's a value-based award, so it's awesome. But like, I remember my daughter being kind of like sad after a couple games not winning anything, and like, her response was so great. Because I was like, oh, like, you're all right? And she said, like, I'm mad I didn't win. And I was like, yeah, like, I get it. She was like, it's okay. I'll try hard next time. I was like, yeah, exactly. And that's all you can do. And honestly, part of the reason why she didn't get awards is because she wasn't trying hard. She didn't want to go out there. She was embarrassed. Like, at one point she had to like hold the ref's hand, and then I refed a game, which is basically like you're just running around with kids, and she was trying to hold my hand. I was like, you can't hold my hand. Like, but like, you got to go out there and try hard. You're not going to get a trophy.
Absolutely.
You know, she never got one.
You're probably sitting there going,
Yep, exactly. And then she's gotten multiple awards at school. It's actually cool. She's been awarded kindergarten and first grade in front of the whole school at assemblies and stuff.
no way.
For like, you know, one was, oh God, what was it? I think one was the respect award. It was like recognizing for a trait, and like one kid in each class got it. It was dope.
That's
It was
really
really
cool.
dope. Yeah. So like, but like, that stuff is so valuable,
Yeah,
you know?
I love that.
So
Okay, I got one more question.
do
This
it.
one's completely off topic from everything else we've been doing, but I've just been super into fiction books lately. I think I've been talking to you as we're training and whatnot. I you know, during my process of like, you know, fat loss transformation, I was going through Lord of the Rings. Great while you're doing cardio, by the way. Keeps you very interested, that's for sure. But I went through Lord of the Rings, and then I went through the Andy Weir books, specifically the Hail Mary Project. If you haven't read or listened to that, so good. And then now I'm working my way through Game of Thrones. But do you have a favorite fiction series, fiction book, something you like to read to Blakely? Like, do you have anything?
So I haven't been reading fiction much, just because honestly, I'm just working a lot. And what I'm reading is usually, it's very specific to what I know I need to work on right now.
Yeah.
But I'm always reading something, and I have read, like, one of my favorite series in the past was Wayward Pines. I read quite a few fictions at one point when I was really trying to learn copywriting.
Yeah.
I started reading a lot of fiction books, because if you want to learn how to storytell, I mean, pick up Harry Potter. Like, this person made up a whole civilization, powers, a language for Lord of the Rings, especially like different languages, Dwarven, Elven, like, yeah, that's wild, you know? And I haven't actually read through all the Lord of the Rings books, but I've seen the movies like 8 times. Huge fan. But Wayward Pines is probably my favorite book to read, especially because there wasn't even TV series at the time. There is a TV series now, and it was good, but it doesn't do it justice. But that was a book that like really pulled me. There's 3 books, and it's like a post-apocalyptic kind of thing.
Okay.
Like, basically, he basically like it's kind of like he doesn't literally just like pass out in a hyperbolic chamber, but in a way like they have like a amount of them, and then he wakes up in this place, doesn't know where he's at, and he's like trying to figure it out, but it's very quiet, nobody's talking. It's like this like white picket fence, perfect place, and like you're trying to figure out what the fuck's going on while you're reading it.
Yeah.
And then you find out that they're like in this like place that this guy built and can't get out, and it's because it's thousands of years in the future, and anybody who was left on Earth is like now like Walking Dead, but like not zombie slow, like like they're like they'll mess you up. They're
I'm
fast.
definitely gonna check this out because it sounds exactly like the same start to Project Hail Mary, because he wakes up, he's in space, literally can't like open his eyes, blink, speak. Everything's like coming back very slowly, and the story goes on, and it's basically like he's an astronaut. Earth is like technically dying to an extent, not giving any spoilers, but like he has to be the one to solve what's going on, and might have some interaction with, alien beings and things like that. It's really cool.
Oh yeah. You'll like this one then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's good. That's definitely been one of my favorites. As far as right now, like I'm always reading stuff with Blakely. She's into like fairies and stuff. So like, I read a chapter book with her recently that was like, what was it? Some fairy kind of.
Do they still read Junie B. Jones? I feel like my sisters were immensely into Junie B. Jones.
I don't know.
Oh man.
Right now she's got, it's like there's a ton of these different fairy books. So we've read a couple already, and so she's got a couple of those. And then it's actually really cool. So she has really kind of pushed me to memorize stories from the Bible as much as I can, because she wants to know, and so she'll ask me, and it's lights off time. Like she needs to go to bed. So I'm sitting in there with her, and then she wants me to tell her story. So I have to like recite it. And like after like the third time telling the story I love the most, that is like really powerful to me, the story of Joseph, I was like, I got to learn some more stories. So dude, I've told her the story of Mary and Joseph, and then Joseph and his brothers, different Joseph, Samuel, King Saul, Joshua. Like I've just gone through so many. And so it's like last night, even she was like, "Did you learn a new one?" And I was like, "I haven't finished a new one yet." Because it's like you got to really like, once you start to recite it, you're like, "Wait, what? Who did what? What was it?" Like, and you got to really think about it.
You're writing it on your hand. You're like, "Okay, I got to be able to see this."
So like, and if it's too quick, she's like, "That was short."
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, I mean, like, it is kind of short when you're reading it. It's not. It's long, but like when you just say the premise of like this is what happened. Yeah, it's kind of short. So I've been reading a lot, and then like listening to people tell the stories, so I can like try to memorize them, which has been fun. But otherwise, I mean, like the Bible is just a normal thing I read every day, basically. But other than that, man, I'm reading like just either I have a podcast guest coming on soon, and I'm trying to fly through their book, or I have like I'm not gonna say his name because he hasn't agreed yet, but somebody I want on the podcast. Yeah, I'm trying to read his book. Just in case he says yes, then I have some knowledge, and it's just a good book. And then just business stuff, But dude, check out Wayward Pines.
I'm definitely going to.
You'll like
100%.
that. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for this one, guys. I'm going to link Kyle's podcast, the Tailored Coaching Podcast, Tailored Transformation Podcast. I will link his Instagram so you can give him a follow, one of our coaches. I will also link, I think it was the fat loss psychology that we talked about. I'm going to link all that stuff that we talked about in the description of this podcast, as well as everything we have to offer, just in case, because we got a bunch in the pipeline, and I don't know when this airs as I'm recording it, but we got some good stuff coming. So I'll link everything there. If you enjoy this podcast, leave us a 5-star rating and review, and we will catch you guys next time.